Okay, so this is a work with my PhD student, Georgios Melissourgos. It's called, I will not read all this. It's actually the Greek adaptation of a well-known instrument, the User Experience Questionnaire in Greek. Okay, and its short version, which is some 4 questions. Okay, so you all know what UX is. I will buy some time. The Hazen-Chalsky model for UX, pragmatic quality, I will need these terms in the following, and hedonic quality. The first is more goal-oriented, the other is on hedonic aspects. Questionnaires are a very popular way to measure UX. There is a recent study that says that about half, 42 out of 96 UX evaluation methods surveyed there involved some type of questionnaire. There are many examples. I just mentioned some of them here. The well-known attractive 2, the UEQ, the SuperQ, etc. So our motivation is pretty obvious, I think, from the title. UEQ, User Experience Questionnaire, is a very popular UX instrument. Currently, it's in 37 languages, including Greek, on the actual online website. But the Greek translation, it's actually only that. It's a translation. It was done in the context of an MSc thesis, if I remember correctly, from the Hellenic Open University, which doesn't report anything. It says that we use this. This is the Greek version, but doesn't report anything about reliability, validity, and stuff like that we need to be sure that there is a cross-cultural adaptation of the tool and not just translation. So I can imagine that I think Zacharias is if I can see it, the translator there. He did for his MSc thesis. He had a Greek population and wanted to use a Greek version of the tool. So this is actually on a bigger theme. We are doing this work who have done already this work for other questionnaires, for example, for SUS, for UMUX, and for PSSQ, to support the Greek community, the practitioners and academics, to have validated instruments for self-reported constructs that we typically use in HCI. So the UEQ, you can see it on the right. This is the original version in English. It's 26 bipolar adjective pairs. For example, I will read the first one: annoying on the one side, enjoyable on the other side. 7 points scale where the participant answers. It's a manifestal scale, okay. Half items start with positive adjective on the left. For example, the third one is creative, while others start with a negative. I will use the terms reverse normal because if we start on the negative on the left, the more we agree, the better for the system, and the opposite for the other term. So this is often done in questionnaires. It might create more harm than do good, but this is another discussion. And the scale, the subscales that UEQ, according to the creators of the instrument, has is attractiveness, 3 scales for pragmatic quality, and 2 scales for hedonic quality. You can see the names there. And the short version is 8 items from the pool of the 26. All the items have normal order, meaning that the negative term is on the left, and the more you agree, the better it is for the system. And it has 2 scales, one for pragmatic quality, another one for hedonic quality, and it also provides a total score. The UEQ doesn't provide. To get an actual total score, you need to also complete, the participants need to also complete a separate set of questions that asks them to weight these subscales. So to produce a score, it's a bit more complex. Now, the methodology, we followed the forward-back typical translation approach, slightly tweaked, as I say there. You will see why. We involved 2 HCI experts, one both proficient in English, native Greek speakers, 1 translator, an English major, who is professionally doing this, translating not HCI things, general English things, unfamiliar, obviously, with the questionnaire. And this is the main tweak. We added, because of the era, a large language model, ChatGPT, as a participant in the translation process. The procedure, we got the original UEQ, 26 items. We did an initial translation, and by we, I mean the two HCI experts and the large language model with appropriate prompts. We did a synthesis. Again, everyone involved. The LLM was also involved in the synthesis for the forward translation. There were some differences. I will focus on them later on in the terms, in the translations. We did, the next step was a back translation. So the translator, the human translator, took the back translated version and the forward translated, and back translated it to English again. And we all met to reconcile differences again, to see how the back translated terms and which was different compared to the original user experience questionnaire. And after this, we did the psychometric evaluation involving 538 participants, evaluating 2 websites and completing the Greek version, the back translated version of the UX scale. So just to get a glimpse of some differences that were there between the translators, especially focusing on the back translated version versus the original UX. Most adjectives were identical, 88%, or direct synonyms as defined by a dictionary. A few were discussed, you can see 12%, to reconcile differences. There are more in the paper, but just an example, item 281, clear confusing, was forward translated to safes συγκεχημένο. They are back translated to clear vague. And in the end, we discussed and decided to we keep the safes, the clear term, the first term as it is, but we used the asafes for other term. So this was the kind of differences that were reconciled before creating the version for the psychometric evaluation. Now, you can see also here the bold ones, if you can see them, are the questions from the short version of the instrument, for the UEQ sort. Now, participants, I already mentioned this, some demographics. They performed 3 tasks in 2 websites. We also monitored task access and time on task to compare the 2 websites. You will see why. These are the tasks they had to do. One was on a ministry website with a more old-fashioned, less, let's say, hedonic one. And the other one was for the eGov portal with a more modern design, more animations, more pictures, stuff like that. After trying all the tasks with each website, after each session with a website, the participants completed the Greek version of the UEQ and the Greek version of the SUS, which are already standardized. And at the end of the session, we got a questionnaire on demographics. Now, moving on to the results, we started with a hard one, factor structure. We used exploratory factor analysis with principal axis factoring and pro-max rotation because we don't expect to be unrelated totally, the factors. We ran multiple efforts, 5 factors, constraining the solution to 5 factors, which is the original UEQ. There is one, it's 6 scales, but the attractiveness scale is by itself on its own. So 5 factors for the rest of the questions. We also tried, as you can see, other constraints for the solutions. Based on the script plots analysis, we should use 3 factors. Based on the pragmatic hedonic structure, we should use 2 factors, and based on another study that found the same for another language. And we also tried for the attractiveness scale, the 1-factor solution, which is assumed to be unidimensional. Main findings, we found it to have different factor structure than the original. It was mainly affected by item polarity, which means that in most cases, even in the 2-factor solution, the groupings were based on whether the terms were, the item started with the negative or the positive word rather than the assumed pragmatic hedonic quality structure. This is not new. It has happened in other questionnaires too. Yes. I have some examples here, but I will skip it. The main theme is this. Most of the items with positive term group themselves in one factor, the other in another factor. Here you can see the five factor solution. We don't even have enough items that load in the fifth factor. So this is strong evidence that we don't even have 5 factors as it was originally suggested in the English, at least, version of the questionnaire. So I have some other things. The 4 factors didn't differ a lot. The 3 factors again the same. I will pass this. And I will move to the attractiveness scale, which even the attractiveness scale did not have a unidimensional structure as it is supported by the original scale. We found again this polarity affecting the grouping of the questions. So again, this raises some concerns about the factor structure. Now, regarding the validity, we did something called, we investigated something called non-groups validity, which in simple terms means that whether the questionnaire can discriminate between a website with lower UX as perceived compared to a website with a system in general with a better UX. That's where we used the objective metrics, task success, time on task. As you can see, in all cases, all differences were significant. The ministry website was significantly worse in all objective metrics and subjective one with the SUS compared to the eGov portal. So this proves that our intuition was correct. The one website was worse in terms of UX and the other one was better. And UEQ-GR could capture these differences. So this shows that it can identify the differences reliably. And one last comment for the validity, convergence and discriminant validity. Here, for the convergence validity, we used SUS. Participants also completed the SUS, which is already a standardized instrument. And we cannot expect that it will not correlate, the hedonic quality will not correlate at all with SUS. We expect the pragmatic quality to correlate a lot. But there is evidence that there is also emotional aspects in SUS captured by SUS too. So we can see here the main findings that yes, the pragmatic quality was more correlated. These are the correlations with SUS, by the way. Was more correlated compared to the hedonic quality aspect of the questionnaire. But some of the factors in there, some of the subscales, which we are not sure that exist for the Greek version there, correlated roughly the same. As you can see, for example, the hedonic quality stimulation has approximately the same correlation with SUS for both websites, which again raises some concerns. Regarding reliability, we investigated internal reliability, Cronbach alpha. All values were in acceptable ranges. You can see here the full analysis. Only 2 values were a bit lower, but it can happen only for one website. It might be related to this specific website and whether it actually, for example, the one dimension is novelty. I don't know how novel the ministry website is. Now, regarding a short version, we found better things here, better result. We had better alignment here. We found indeed that the instrument has the original and assumed factor structure. All items, there is no polarity here, of course. It's only normally put items. So we did find the structure that the instrument intends to capture. And we also found that it was valid, non-groups validity was again okay, and convergence and discriminant validity was again okay. As you can see, as you can see in the scales, the pragmatic quality part correlates. Yep. Shut up. Correlates a lot more than the hedonic quality part. So to summarize, again, the reliability was okay. To summarize, with limitations of huge directions, the perception of pragmatic and heroic quality are highly dependent on the type of system evaluated. We use 2 websites. Of course, we need to do more studies with different systems. We also need to use confirmatory factor analysis with another study, another data set, and investigate the effect of other things like that we know affects other questionnaires. So, thank you very much. I'm here for any question. Yeah,
Hello. I would like to ask you, I think, 2 questions, basically a comment and then a question. Thank you very much. I find it very useful. I use UEQ very often, and so many questions are very not so well understood by the participants, and you have to be there and answer them. What SAFES, not satisfactory or whatever, means, which in Greek it's not that good. It's useful, but not that good for participants. That's the comment section. And the answer, the question, sorry, is about
Athena,
how...
so it's also the opposite sometimes. I mean, in English, there is safe, unsafe, secure, unsecure. In Greek, you use one word for both. So
exactly. Yeah. The question is about how you involved AI on the process, and why you didn't include the translation with the ChatGPT altogether, like a co-translation, if I can say.
Let me see if I understood this. We included ChatGPT for co-translation, as you say. It was a peer in the translation process. We also reprompted it during the discussions that we think that there is the one translator said this word. What do you think? Which one would you select, etc. So we involved it even in the discussion of the differences.
Great. And the follow-up question, and if there is another question, please raise your hand. Did you write the prompts, or do you let the team, the HCI experts and the translator create the prompt?
You mean if the prompt was written from people that
the translators?
No. It was written from us.
Okay,
from people not involved in the translation. We were like the facilitator, let's say, of the process.
Thank you, Christos. This is a really very, very interesting work and very useful for a community. We need validation of the tools we are using. On the other hand, we have to be very, very careful. If we have an established de facto standard in our process, to be very, very careful in modifying it, because that creates an inconsistency, no continuity with reference to previous studies that researchers who use the tools. So you mentioned there that you evaluated an adapted Greek version. So through your study, you created a new version of the one we already have.
No. The adapted refers to the cross-cultural adaptation that it's in Greek.
Yeah, but the Greek version, have you changed the existing? Because we do have an existing version. You modified it.
The existing Greek version.
Yeah, the one which is in. If you go into the website of this tool, there is a Greek version.
Yeah, this one is from an MSc thesis.
Yeah, the original one. Have you changed that?
Yeah, there are changes.
You have to be very careful if you change.
There are changes compared to the Greek version that is currently on the site.
Yeah, but changing something which is already established for many years and used by many researchers, you have to prove, because otherwise you create noise. You have to prove that this is better for some, and it's very hard to define that. And also another question is, we do have UEQ as a tool. The English version, the original version, translated already in about 40 languages, for 37 languages. So it's a very established tool for user experience because it's easy to use. It's very usable, this tool. So we use it every day. I mean, probably most of the people in this audience have used this tool. So if you evaluate it, it's very thorough what you've done. Really good. Congratulations. I like the process. We have to to consider and figure out whether, if you see some problems with the tool, are they due to the original design of UEQ, the original one in English, which inherently may have like asymmetry between the various sections, etc. Is it due to that? Is it due to the interpretation, due to translation in Greek? And how does this compare to the original Greek language, the version which is already established? Mm-hmm. So we have to be very careful when we change something which is well established, and to have to bring forward a very strong argument to change it, even slightly, because it creates a discontinuity in the research. Mm-hmm. And that's very serious. Might be more, if you do a risk-benefit analysis, might be a trivial change, which creates this discontinuity. And why should we do it if the effect is not that great? So while I like this research, really, and it's very useful, we have to make sure that this will result in a proposal to this community of a new standard and create version 2. Do we want, are we ready to do that? If we do it, it has to be done on a really good grounds, not just another study. Mm-hmm. And make clear that this is better for this and that reason from the existing.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. I think there are 2 points there. The first one is why did we do it when there is already one Greek version of the website? This is why we did, because the one online is just a translation, doesn't provide any data for its validation. And we will contact the... why we didn't take because we didn't know how this questionnaire was created, and we wanted to follow the full process of forward back translation, because otherwise there would be an attack, let's say, the methodology. How do you know? What if we did this and we found that it doesn't even have reliability? We don't know why then, because we didn't control the translation process. As I said, I read the original text. This is an MSc thesis. The student did it because he had a Greek community that he wanted to use it. And he might be thinking that this is the process. We just take the instrument and put it in Greek. Now, it's on the site. It's on the site of the User Experience Questionnaire, because Martin, the original creator, is feeling rather open on the process and doesn't require standardized instruments. He even writes it in the UEQ manual that even if you have a first version, put it there. So we will contact him. In fact, he's a colleague from Panagiotis, and we will try to put this validated version there. I forgot the second point. What was the second point? The difference in the structure. Yeah. That's a very good point. There is one more study in another language that I don't remember which one, that also found that the original factor structure is not there. This might confirm that it's an inherited problem, or it might be a coincidence that in both translated, due to the translation problem, because there are words that are not perceived in the same way in the different languages. So it might be an original problem inherited, or it might be a coincidence that both in Greek and Swedish, I don't remember which language, we had the same exact problem. So I can only be sure to say that this is for the Greek version. I cannot safely say that we inherited this problem from the original English version. But it might be the case. If many more translation languages have the same pattern, maybe it's there.